It was quite a run for Team Canada's hockey teams at the Olympics in Sochi. Once again, gold medals on both sides. Tremendous drama on both sides. A little bit of angst on both sides. The President CEO of Hockey Canada, Bob Nicholson, joins us now. Back home?
Yes, I am, Bob. It's nice to be back home.
In general terms, how would you rank these two performances by your two teams? I know that's a tough question, but you've been at a bunch of these. You've gone down this road. These teams have won before. Where does this one rank?
Oh, it's tough to rank them, Bob. You know, they are all so special when they happen, 50 years, and then winning at home. But I think the accomplishment of winning double gold in Vancouver and then going back and getting it done in Russia is just unbelievable, and it's such a great feeling right now.
I want to talk about both teams. Let's start with the women's team. It came down essentially, as it always does, to Canada versus the U.S. And the Americans have had Canada's number from time to time over the past, but never in Olympics. There was a sense going into this one that this might be the year. It looked like this might be a hill too high to climb for Team Canada. At what point, and I assume it would be in the first game, the round-robin game with the U.S., was it at that point that you started to think, hey, we can win this thing? Or were you confident going there?
You know what? I was really confident going there, Bob, and as we all know, we won the first number of games with the U.S. In the fall, and then we started to drop all of those games, and we could see that they were playing differently, and we'd slipped a bit, and then we had a very difficult situation with our coach, and we brought in Kevin Dineen, and you know what, Kevin really, really settled this down. And I think the best line I heard in the whole Olympic Games after was Kevin Dineen saying to me, Bob, with 5 minutes left, I've played in 1,100 NHL games. I've captained NHL teams, coached. There was no panic. This team believed. And, I think that's just great leadership, and the players confident that the coach was going to do the right things, and they were going to get out there and get it done. And it was amazing, but it happened.
What's Kevin's status contractually? What's his future? Does he have one with the women's program?
You know what, Bob, that's a real good question. Met and had a coffee with Kevin the day he left the Olympics. He's going to go back to Florida, spend some time with his family, and we're going to get together sometime here in March. Kevin could potentially do a few things with us. He's coaching the National Hockey League. The women just adore him. But it really is going to be, what does he want to do long term? And, so we'll take a little bit of time and see if there's something with Hockey Canada that might be a good fit for him. Well,
while I'm talking about futures, let me go to the other one. Steve Yzerman announced that he will not return as executive director. Was that a surprise to you?
No, not at all. I remember when I talked to him in Toronto, and he, decided to make this journey to Russia. And, we talked a lot with Steve. Why do you want to do this again? How can you do it better? How, all of those things. And he just said, Bob, I think we can be better than we were in Vancouver, and I want to win, want to go over to Russia and win. And right at the end of the game, he said, hey, Bob, it's over. I'm going to tell everyone. Are you okay with that? And they said, damn right, Steve. It's good on you, and thank you.
Is part of it because did he convey to you that there was maybe surprising pressure on him in his role in Tampa and taking on this dual role, and then subsequently the controversy over the 25-man roster, and then ultimately replacing Stamkos with one of his own? Was all of that, did that weigh on him?
Yeah, that weighed on him. It would weigh on any general manager. And, But that's not the reason he stepped down. He's done 2 Olympics. There's so much time that he's put in. He needs to get back full-time, 100% to Tampa Bay, and we can't thank him enough for, all of his years just working so hard and, wants to spend a little bit more time with his family. So there's a lot of good reasons, but I can tell you, not naming St. Louis at the beginning was so tough on him. I had a great chat with Marty afterwards about where Steve was and their discussions. And, for Marty to play so well in that last game was huge.
Have you even thought about who's next?
Nope.
And well, let me just throw a name out. And I know he's been involved with the program. But are you likely to go back to an existing NHL general manager? And, of course, the guy that's at the top would be sort of at the top of my list. I was asked the question yesterday, would be Kenny Holland.
Kenny Holland would be great. Peter Chiarelli would be great. Doug Armstrong,
These are all guys in your club, if you will. Yeah,
they're there. But we got to look outside, too. There's lots of good general managers, and we want to make sure that we get to know all the NHL general managers. So it's not going to be easy because everyone wants in, and we can only get so many.
Butch?
Yeah, Bob, this is Butch Kerner. Can you walk our fans through what you changed logistically for the players to make them more comfortable after your experience in Italy?
Yeah, the one real big thing that we did is in Italy, if you remember right, we had everyone fly to Toronto and then all go over on a Canadian charter. This time we went with all the other NHL teams. That really helped because we got over there quicker, and I think that went with our jet lag. We were much more due diligence with our sleep doctors and things that we should do 48 hours before and after. And having the village where it was, we really had time to get them prepared for 9 o'clock games, and I think that's really helped. Mike really, really worked on that, sort of changed that clock to 7 o'clock over there, and that was a huge benefit for us.
So you actually created a lessons learned from your prior Olympics in Europe to help you on this trip.
Yeah, we certainly did, and but the Russians made it that much easier. In Torino, we were running all over the town to try to get to places, and here we just all really stuck together, and it was you just walked to facilities, and that made it real special.
With Bob Nicholson, the President and CEO of Hockey Canada, you and I have had some chats during the course of this Olympics off the air, and I take a minute. I've tried to convey to the audience what you told me it was like over there, and you were the first one to rave like a day. I don't even know if the Olympics had started yet, and we talked on the phone, and you told me how fantastic it was there. Just convey, because and it's important, Bob, because there were so many fears and concerns about what was it going to be like. Was it going to be oppressive with security? Were the facilities going to be finished? Were they going to be able to pull this thing off? Tell them what you told me.
Well, you know what, Bob? First of all, Canadians should be very proud of what we did in Vancouver. But what the Russian people did in Sochi, they spent $54 billion, so let's make sure we understand that.
Yeah.
But they built these buildings all within 100 yards of each other. 2 hockey rinks, curling rink, speed skating rink, figure skating rink, long track speed skating, so you could go out of one facility right into the next. On some of the roofs that they had, they'd light up the score that was going on in the building. The cafeteria was right across the street. It was on the Black Sea, palm trees. A lot of days it was 18 and 19 degrees. Players biking to practice, walking back. It's like if you want to get your players in a zone and compete to the best of their ability, the Russian people did it.
Were there any negatives in your experience there over the 2 weeks?
Yeah, we ran out of red wine one night.
Oh, no. Hate that happens. Why didn't you call me? I could have sent you some.
Yeah, no, Bob, it was unbelievable how well everything went. It was really, hey, and when you win, it's easy to say it, but I can tell you, as I told you, I was saying that from day one.
I know you were.
No excuses here. You know, you can just play as hard as you can because they're going to make sure everything rolls out. The food, outstanding. The vegetables, fresh. Like, it was real good.
Bob, when do you start to prepare going forward and having some private conversations with your friends at the NHL?
You know, we had the discussions over there. It'll be ongoing. I just think it's so important to go. I can tell you, walk through our dressing room and every player in there is saying, hey, we want to be back. But I think the most important thing is there were good meetings over there with NHL, NHLPA, and the IOC. So those have started. You know, we'll get back into them with the IHF here, and hopefully we can do it sooner because it gives you more opportunity to give even more exposure. But when I start to get and look at the CBC and NBC numbers, that's going to be a real big determining factor.
In your opinion, we've talked a lot about do you go to Korea, do you have a World Cup? Could you do both, or do you think that's too much?
I really think you got to do both. And if you do both, I think the World Cup is probably an 18 tournament, so it can be a real quick tournament. I think you can really build on the brands of the NHL teams and the brands of the players. And then, again, utilizing the Olympics. But you don't, no matter what type of World Cup, it'll be 30 or 40 years before you get a country like ours engaged in that. It'll take time and we'll get better. But, you know, I come back and you look at the pictures here now. It's unbelievable with the schools and the bars and the streets. Only the Olympic Games does that.
And if you did a World Cup, would you be in favor of playing it in September? Is that the only real window?
You know what? I think that's where it's going to end up, but I really would love to see it in February because I really do believe you could get better TV contracts, you get better sponsorship, and that's right in the middle of hockey season. That's tough for the owners, but if the owners can see that there's enough TV money and enough exposure, it might be a great way to do it, and the players that don't play in it go and get pretty refreshed. We talked about the players coming back here that are tired. Well, a good amount of their players are rested, and it should make for a great second half of the NHL season.
Listen, congratulations, and pass along our congrats to all the people on your staff. It was something to see. It always is, but they had maybe the most dramatic hockey game I've ever seen with the women, followed by a clinic by the men, and that was pretty special. Thanks, as always, for taking a few minutes, and we'll see you soon, I know.
Yeah, thanks a lot for Bob. That means a lot.